Hello again, welcome back to Asgaard, and welcome back to ATM Spellbound. So since the last episode, I have been very busy. I got a couple things done. If we head out, yeah, we'll go out this way first. You're going to notice that I got a bit of the outside here done, starting to kind of bring this up. Instead of just having this opposite side over here done. Not totally done. You can see there's some spots here that I have to work on and stuff. But I did spend a little bit of time working and bringing this around. You'll notice this side came up a bit. It's still very plain at the moment, but I did get a bit of work done. And then if we head up, worked on this little tunnel, or this little entryway. Originally, this staircase was going to keep going up. You know, I had it actually going up a lot higher than this. However, it actually ran into the top of this, and it didn't really like mesh out well with the ceiling here. So I ended up having to cut that and just bring it up to here, which is fine. I have an idea for where this is going to go. Right now, it doesn't lead to anything, but it will. Also, something sad that I discovered, these black banners. If we go in and we type in banner, for example, you'll notice that, I know I've talked about this in other series, but you can copy banners within this pack, which is great. However, these banners, you cannot copy them. So, for example, if we pull this one off, this is a black banner, and you'll notice that we cannot copy it over. So, a little bit unfortunate there, but that's okay. It's not a banner that we're actually going to be using a ton, like this banner, for example. But I think it's because it has like 7 or 8 things that go into it, and that's the reason we're not going to be able to copy that one. So, kind of unfortunate there, but they are not super uncommon while exploring, so that is a plus. Now, if we continue on up through here, I've worked on this hallway a little bit. You can see this actually comes up, and this comes up. This over here comes up to a big long hallway that leads to nothing at the moment. I also found that I could fit a little pathway in through here and actually come underneath, down through here. So I added that. It's actually going to plug into another area that we're going to be setting up. If we come through over here, yeah, we'll get down there here in just a moment. But I do have this set up. So source jar that's being fed from over there. And we do have a ritual brazier that has the tablet of flight. So now if we double tap jump, we're going to get a buff for 1.5 minutes. And it does refresh once it gets down to about 50 seconds, as long as I'm within range. I noticed that right about somewhere in here is where it comes out of range. So I'm thinking the tablet of flight's actually super cheap. I'm thinking about running one over to here and having it set up on the other side, and then maybe one down over here. So we'll pretty much have creative flight around our base without having to immediately push for something like the angel ring. Now, that being said, I did make us a new broom. This one is a bit better. You can see feather brush, blaze rod, emerald, gem cap. Added a couple modifiers to it. We do have some swimming on it, 100 points, basically 1 modifier worth of swimming. We've got 250 to maneuverability, not quite max, but we do have max on acceleration. We've got max on levitation, 20 out of 30 on efficiency, and we do have max on speed. This thing is very nice, very quick, and it maneuvers great. It's a bit better than our last one for sure, but we do have a lot more materials now than we did with the first one. And then lastly, if we come through here, we have this little area. This little area, I was actually kind of unsure what I was going to do here. I was like, because it leads into the dining hall, it's kind of an awkward placement, and I didn't want to just expand the dining hall out here, but my girlfriend was like, you should do like kind of like a little plant area, maybe have an aquarium and stuff, and I was like, I love that idea. And so I put this together, and we kind of have this little basically just a lot of petal apothecaries with floating flowers, one of each color actually in this room, and then some different plants and stuff, and then just a whole bunch of different saplings on this wall for the most part. There is like some mushroom colonies and little things up here, but for the most part it's just all different kinds of saplings. And it was a great place to dump all of our Twilight Forest saplings that we got a couple episodes ago. So now if we continue on into here, this is now the dining hall. Something I had been wanting to do and talking about doing for a very long time. So I spent a bit of time working on this. Didn't get quite as much done this weekend as I'd hoped, but did get a very good chunk of building done, I think. It was nice to be back on here just building for a few days. We are going to put more food out, but so far this is the food that we've gotten access to, which is the honey glazed ham, the stuffed pumpkins. We also have a stuffed hoglin here. And then up here we kind of have like a little ode to our abyssal craft and a little bit of Twilight Forest time set up here. So also some abyssal craft armors kind of spread out in the room. Stuff that was easy to craft with the progression that we did in abyssal craft. And a bit of the living wood and stuff up here for the ceiling. I actually quite like that. And then we're going to have another room up here. So the floor, a little bit tricky because we do have the glowing poison stone from the floor below it kind of poking up, but I'm thinking of using floorboards up here. You know, frame floorboards to do a lot of the flooring, so that way we can have flooring. It won't set completely flush, but maybe even just carpets in a lot of those spots would be good. And then this area here opens up and it goes into this area, which is actually where we're going to have a bunch of like rooms and stuff back in here, I think. They'll kind of go off in this direction, and then these stairs take us up to here. So another way that we can access this area. And then be able to continue on up from there. So, anyways, that's most of the building. There was a little bit of other things in places, but that's the majority of the building. So, also did a little bit of work as far as Botania goes, crafting runestones, stuff like that. Moving some mana just with the tablet up to here. Not as much as I should have done. I only just started doing it, like, today. So, I didn't quite get... I probably, in the time it took me to build all that, I probably could have filled up all these pools, but I didn't do that, so. Alright, so what we're going to be doing today is, you know, we pushed Botania before, just far enough to get the mana enchanter and get some mana set up. I'd like to kind of come back to Botania since we do kind of have it in that, like, mid-state of limbo. We haven't really finished the progression of Botania, and there is a lot of other stuff that we're going to want from Botania. Not just in terms of some item logistical things, but also in terms of equipment. Plus, I kind of have this mana pool splitter system just in the middle of the floor, and I hate it, and I want it moved. So what we're going to be doing is, also, I did finish this quest for the runic altar, just making, you know, I made a bunch of the runes. I was kind of in the, I think I was only missing air and mana, as far as the quest goes. And so I did go ahead and I did finish that out. Now, what I would like to do is let's go ahead and make ourselves the terrestrial agglomeration plate. I am going to need a couple of these and that. We'll go ahead and get our terrestrial agglomeration plate. And then, of course, we are going to need a little bit of living rock, a little bit more lapis blocks. Let's go ahead and grab these. As far as where we're going to put it, it's going to be a very temporary spot, just because this is where all of our mana is. So let's just set it up. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. This. That. And then let's go ahead. I didn't mean to use my mushroom for that. Oh well. Let's go ahead and put a spark onto there. And then let's go ahead and just... Oh, wait. Those aren't mana versions. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a little bit of this stuff. And we'll go ahead and just put that onto there. And then let's go ahead and get another one. We've got a lot of mana around here. You know, we've got some from this pool that it's pulling from. We got these 4 pools that it's pulling from. Eventually we'll have a lot more pools. Of course, this room won't have a terrestrial agglomeration plate once we're done. But let's go ahead and get ourselves a little bit more Terra steel. There we go. That might be okay for right now. What else did they want? Oh, they wanted 3 ingots worth. Okay. Rosa Arcana is pretty good. We're going to make it a bit better today, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about mana as we move forward. Now, we do get a Blacker Lotus. I'm just going to toss that in there. It's actually quite a bit of mana, as you can see. And then they want us to make the Elven Gateway Portal, which is what we really want to get our hands on first and foremost. It's going to be temporary. Our Botania stuff is actually going to be over in here, a lot of it, and kind of down in this area, it's not going to stay a tunnel. But most of our Botania stuff is going to be over in here. That's why I went ahead and dug this tunnel. Our Elven Gateway portal, it's going to be kind of a temporary spot. Because I don't have everything laid out, and the portal, of course, is going to be something, it's kind of a big deal. So we're going to put it in, actually, do we just want to put it in, we'll have temporary portal spot be here. So living wood, and then we'll go ahead and get our 3 pieces of the glimmering living wood, just like that. We're also going to put our mana pools in. These are going to be manually fed with our tablet. So as we go up and down through here, I'm going to be filling up the tablet and bringing it up, basically just to fill up those pools. At the moment, I do have this set to fill the tablet. So we'll go ahead and just toss that in and let that start filling up a tablet for us. Now we are going to want to get a couple of these Natura pylons. We are going to need, let me go ahead and get a couple of those. And we'll go ahead and get our 2 mana pylons. And then for the Natura pylon, it is, of course, just Terra steel. The Elven Gateway, of course, is set up in a way to where it is perfect for a single piece of Terra steel to make the entire altar. And then we'll go ahead and get the Elven Gateway core as well. So now all we actually need is mana to get this thing up and going. And of course, with the changes to the Elven Gateway portal in more recent versions of Botania, it's very feasible to set it up in a way where you're not constantly feeding in mana, because it actually doesn't matter as long as you fill it in between uses, because it doesn't have that passive draw that it used to back in, 1.7. So we're just going to be manually keeping it fed with the tablet. Honestly, if we fill these 2 pools up, we're going to have plenty of mana probably forever, especially until we move it. We should have plenty of mana for that, so I've just got to get the area laid out. I've got the idea in my head, I just haven't had time. I actually had a lot of time to build, it's just I spent that time building things that I had been planning to build for a very long time, like the dining hall and stuff, and kind of working on some of the stuff that's been sitting there unfinished for a very long time. So I was trying to get some areas actually wrapped up and cleaned up, especially since we do have our very first public world upload quickly approaching now, so... Originally, I was going to do that at episode 25, and I've since decided we're going to do it at episode 30. That way we've got the patron and the public both kind of at the same time. And then also because this is, episode 27, I think. So we've already passed up episode 25, so it just kind of works out better for us. Honestly, I'm probably just going to go halfway filled on these portals, because that's going to be sufficient. Now, of course, these mana pools can go pretty much anywhere, but we're just going to put them right there. It's fine. And we'll go ahead and get our wand out, right-click that. There we go, there's our world calling advancement. And you can see it's going to drain a very, very minuscule amount of mana. About an 1/8 per pool, so about a 1/4 of a mana pool in total to start this thing up. Okay, now the quest wants us to get Dreamwood, Alf Glass, Dragonstone, Pixie Dust, and Elementium. I'm actually going to take the rest of my living wood, though, and just toss all this in, because we're going to be needing a bit of Dreamwood today. So there we go. And at this point, it is time, before we even bother with anything else, the first thing we need to do is upgrade this. Because manually having to move this mana, it's not great fun. Let me go ahead and get this thing filling, though. Oh, and we will need Elementium for this, so let's go ahead, just toss that in there. Get our mana steel. Let's go upgrade this really, really quick. And we'll toss that in there and get our Elementium. Task completed. Let me grab that. And we'll go ahead and just set that up. And that way we can move mana a whole lot faster with this. So I don't think this is really struggling much, so I'm not going to worry too much. Yeah, you can see, I mean, it's not having any issues. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's go with like 8. And let's go with like 8. And we'll go convert these. And also, let's go ahead and make our Alf Glass, if I can get it. There we go. There's a half stack of mana glass. And we'll just toss that in and get our Alf Glass. And then we'll toss in our mana diamonds, get our dragonstone, and toss in our ender pearls and get our pixie dust. Okay, so that quest is done. No reward for that. And then they're going to want the Bifrost stuff. Honestly, we might as well go ahead and do that. It's not as important in this pack, I think, as in some, but we will be using it for some building. And also we'll be using the Rod of the Bifrost to make bridges in at least one spot that come to mind. So we'll go ahead, get that, and then I think it's 12 they wanted for the quest. We'll go ahead and do that. Then they want Runes of the Seasons. They want Runes of the Seven Sins. Ooh, we're going to have to make 2 of each of these, actually. But now with our new alfheim things, there's a bit more progression. We're going to dive into that in just a second. But something that I want to do to this room, a couple things I want to do to this room to help us get it cleaned up. First and foremost, I want to make a recessive spark, I think. I don't think we're going to bother with dominant. I don't think we actually need it here necessarily. Actually, there is one way we could set it up, and we might here in just a moment. But we are going to make ourselves a recessive spark. There we go. There is our recessive spark augment. We're going to put this onto here. So if the mana gets sent up to here, then it's going to feed the mana into all these other sparks. It can still supply mana, of course, to our mana enchanter, but we're going to use this as kind of an input location to then feed all the mana out to all these other pools that are kind of spread out around the room. But we're going to get ourselves an abstruse platform. Oh yeah, I don't have any more living wood left. Let me get some more going. That's something we're gonna have to get that automated pretty soon. There we go, pattern framed. Then we'll get our abstruse platform. Then we can get mana lens. Then we can get our phantom lens. And then let's go ahead and get ourselves a velocity lens, I think. Slime ball. And we're going to go phantom velocity for our composite lens. Now at this point, what we can do is we're actually going to be taking this entire setup and removing it for right now. And with the distance, we could almost send it via spark, which is instantaneous. So, I mean, there is that. But no, I think we're just going to pull this up. Let's let that empty out for just a minute. Actually, I'll just take the mana tablet up there and empty it. And, of course, we could have made the phantom lens sooner. For some reason, in my head, I always think the phantom lens requires that we push on to, like, pixie dust or red string or something. Get ender air. I don't know. It's like, it's gated in my head. It's not the case, of course, but it's always gated in my head. And so I'm like, well, I can't do phantom lens yet. So that's why we didn't do phantom lens early on. But we could have, but that's okay. It's not really a big deal for us. Alright, let's go ahead. We're just going to dig down. Probably try to line this up to some degree so the bursts kind of makes sense. Yeah, we're actually standing right at it at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a pool that sets here. And then what we'll do, let's grab, there's a lot of mana in there, probably because I'm not, leave me alone. Oh, silverfish getting in here. Ah, okay, I should probably turn that off, right? Like, nothing good's gonna come of me leaving that running. We're gonna have a spreader put in, just right here is fine. We can actually probably leave it as this spreader. That's bound. Let's take our old potency velocity, just to make sure. We don't really have to upgrade this spreader. It's a good use for our old spreaders because this shouldn't have any issues keeping up, I don't think. Well, you know what? We've got the materials. Let's just go ahead and upgrade it. We'll go ahead and do it as the Elven mana spreader. Alright, so let's get 2 more of the Elven mana spreaders. We've got 1 phantom lens. We're going to make another one. We're going to set up 1 spreader here with the phantom lens. And we're going to bind the, we're going to be binding it to the pool that's upstairs. Still trying to get used to the creative flight because I was like, well, I gotta dig my way. I gotta set something up like 2 blocks high so that I can jump out of this hole. But then it's like, oh yeah, I've got creative mode flight around the base now. Now we should be... Okay, I think the ordering is wrong. So let's go ahead, break that apart so we get the phantom and we get the velocity, and then we'll combine them the other way around. So maybe it's velocity phantom. Oh, no. Okay. It's just phantom then. We're just going to go with just phantom. Potency might work, but Botania can be a little bit wonky when it comes to setting up your lenses. But there's certain combinations that don't work correctly, and there's certain combinations that need like a specific order to work correctly. Some of them are pretty straightforward. Sometimes you kind of have to play around with it and maybe change up your ordering a little bit for like maximum efficiency. But you can see the mana is coming up here, and you can see bursts going out, and it's basically splitting it between all these other mana pools. Now at this point we are going to break off this because we actually don't need these mana pools. We don't need the splitter here anymore. So we are going to remove that. I'm going to just dump the mana into the pools nearby. And we can dump all this stuff as well. And honestly, a better way to do this, let me break off the dispersive, or the recessive augment. And let's just make our... This is a lot easier than doing the pools, to be honest. Let's just do that. And we'll just basically get rid of all the mana in these real quick. Okay, so now at this point, a couple other things I'd like to do real quick. Let's pop down. And I want to go ahead just really fast and just make a mana mirror. Well, I'm actually out of mana pearls already. Oh yeah, because I turned them all over to pixie dust. Okay, but let's go ahead and get ourselves a mana mirror. And the purpose of this mana mirror is so that we can kind of gauge, as we need upgrades, we can kind of gauge when we need to add upgrades, if we need to upgrade the spreaders that are down there. Because that mana pool is completely hidden from us, we can't see it. And I'd like to at least be able to just kind of keep an eye on it and see where it's at on mana. I mean, right now it's got a little bit in there, but I was running it. I don't know. It may not be fast enough even with 2. I can always put another spreader behind it. That's fine. Or another spreader above it. And I can upgrade these to gaia spreaders. And like I said, I think it might be potency phantom that work together. Just not velocity. I can't remember. But what we're going to do is we're just going to shift right click here. And that way we can keep an eye on this pool through this mana mirror. And we could just put this mana mirror, like say right here. And this gives us a place where we can just, at a glance, see the situation with that pool down there. And then we can make adjustments to it as we need to. You know, we can add upgrades and things like that. I think if we come down right here, this gives us a pretty good play, or actually one back, to be honest. I mean, you can see we've already moved a substantial amount of mana, and that's across quite a few pools here, so. Okay, yeah, phantom potency does work. I was just looking here. I took this off. Velocity's not going to do anything with it being right next to this pool, I don't think. So I did separate it, and I took the potency lens. It is working on this. It seems to be sending the mana, and so it should be sending a little bit more mana per burst, and it doesn't seem to be falling off. It seems to be getting to the pool. So we may do phantom potency lenses on this, but one thing that we are going to do, just really quick, let's go ahead, dump that in. We're going to go ahead and get one of each rune, at least. And then we're going to use, I went ahead and made an extra fire rune, or an extra set of fire runes so that we could make another potency lens. We'll go ahead and go phantom potency here as well. Hopefully speed up draining this out, because it is starting to back up on us. But, yeah, it looks like it's flipping between it. It looks like it's a little bit more stable now, though, than it was, but... So we'll let that run. We'll see if it drains anything. Worst comes to worst, we upgrade these to gaia spreaders. We should be good. I think we'll be able to keep up with it. It actually is a lot of mana, right? Just as like a byproduct from our source and blood system. It's a lot of mana. Okay, now at this point, the reason I wanted all these runes They are going to want the seasonal runes. We're going to wait just a minute on those. But one thing that we are going to do, we're going to go ahead and make our sails. We open up the Feywild. I was debating between if I wanted to automate these in the same fashion that we've always automated them, which is the runic altar. I think we're probably going to do it through the Feywild, though, because it's something we've never really touched on within a series. And plus, it'll give us more entities kind of moving around in our base, since we will have those dwarves kind of running about. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and get our book and quill, and we're going to get an elemental rune crafting book. Now, on its own, this isn't going to do anything just yet, so we're just going to tuck that away. But we do want our runes for that purpose. And then, let's go ahead. Let me grab this. And we're going to set off. Now, we could go into the overworld and try to find some Feywild dimensions, but I think it's going to take a while with large biomes, so I think we're just going to go to Alfheim. Oh, we need the mead. That's what it is. The mead, yeah, this right here. Honey bottle and the blood. Okay, yeah. We're going to have to do just a bit more with Mythic Botany first before we can go there. Because what I was thinking is we'd go there, and the Feywild stuff is in that dimension. But it looks like we'll have to wait just a little bit, because we do have to get this, which is going to require, yeah, some of the Mythic Botany runes and stuff. And we will have to kill the Gaia Mark II. Okay, so it's going to take a little bit longer than I was planning. That's fine. In that case, so yeah, we'll have to make seasonal runes first up, and we'll kind of stick with the quest for now. So I'll be making 2 of each of those, and then we'll have to make the 7 deadly sins runes. And honestly, since we get our runes back, I'll probably just make 2 of each of these as well. Might even make 3 of each of the runes. That way we can upgrade our Feywild book and just keep it caught up. Because this thing, as it upgrades, it does keep, like if we hold shift, you can see this version also includes all the elemental runes. So it's worth us just kind of keeping this upgraded as we go. And that way we can use that to our advantage. And have it fully upgraded as we need it. I think for this one, I'll probably won't do this one just yet. But I'm going to go ahead and upgrade it at least to the Deadly Sins rune. So it'll be like Fire, Water, 3, and 1. We'll get that going. I also probably should set back up our Pure Daisy. Just have it making Living Rock because we're going to need it here shortly. So there's our first Rune of Spring. And then, of course, like I said, we get our runes back. So this really isn't all that expensive. Most of the materials are really mundane. And then once we get up to the Sin runes, they're very mundane. It's just mana diamonds. And we've got plenty of mana and we've got plenty of diamonds. So I'm not too worried about those. So give me just a minute here. Nothing exciting happening. Just making runes. Okay, and I did finish up the seasonal runes. So I'm starting into the Sin runes now. And we should still be... I may have to move some mana over to that pool because these are a little bit more expensive. But let's go ahead now and just upgrade this. And just go ahead and get the seasonal rune crafting book. And just try to keep this caught up with us. That way we don't have to do it all later. And then once we do get our dwarves and we get some Fey Dust or Mana Dust. I can't remember what it's called. But... once we do get that, then we can easily just set this up and not have to craft a bunch of runes, because that's not terribly fun to turn around and have to make them all over again, you know? Okay, so there we go. There was our very last rune for the 7 deadly. 2 of each 7 deadly. We get a couple blacker lotuses. We're just going to go ahead and toss these into here somewhere. It doesn't really matter where they end up, to be honest. And then let's go ahead... cut down on some of these runes slightly. Let's go ahead, pop up, and to get our next book, this will be our last book for right now. It's going to be all 7 runes along with this. Let me go ahead and just make sure we've got them all laid out here. Alright, so we got Gluttony, Sloth, Lust, Wrath, Greed, Envy, Pride. Perfect. So we're just going to toss one of all these in there, and there we go. We got the schematic for the Deadly Sins rune crafting. Alright, so now we're moving into kind of the realm of Mythic Botany at this stage, and we're going to have to start making some Alf Steel, which requires the mana infuser. And to get the mana infuser, it's Rune of Winter, Autumn, Spring, Summer, and then also a Rune of Asgard. So the Rune of Asgard, it's going to be Pride, Autumn, and Air. And then we are also going to have to get a Netherite Ingot and a Rod of the Bifrost. So we'll go ahead and toss that in. We'll toss that in. We'll get that running. And then in addition, we're just going to need some Elementium and some Glimmering Dreamwood. Let's go ahead and get that really quick. And I think we should be all set. There is our mana infuser. And then for this, it's going to be gold, and it's going to be the Bifrost, or the Shimmer Rock. And at this point, we can pretty much get rid of our terrestrial agglomeration plate. So let's go ahead, let's pull that off. We don't need that. And the spark, we're going to have to do a little change to that also. And this is going to be, once again, this is going to be a temporary location for this. But this is where all my mana is at the moment. Just so happens. So, in order to move our mana where it's going to be going, I think we'll probably have to kill the Gaia at least once. Because I think I'm going to need a Gaia spreader pretty much to be able to move it the way that I would like to move it. But let's go ahead. Let's get our spark. And we're just going to put that back down on there. Whoops. Put that on there. And this is going to require, if I recall, I believe this requires that we have the spark be a dominant one, right? Mana infuser. Here we go. It does require a dominant spark. Okay. Yeah. So we are going to need to make a dominant spark, but it's kind of like the recessive spark augment that we made as far as crafting it. Very, very doable for us, and we did get the extra fire rune, so we're not out of rune or anything like that. We'll go ahead and put that onto there. Now, this will be able to make Terra Steel, just like before, but it's going to, if I recall, it crafts a little bit faster, I think. And we can also make Balder Steel, which we are not going to be making that just yet. But then we can make Alf Steel, which requires 2 mana pools. And this is going to be Dragonstone, Pixie Dust, basically all of our primary alfheim materials. We'll throw that into there. Whoops. There we go. And not be standing on top of it. It does require a massive amount of mana, but that's why we have this big setup for today. But we will be doing this a little bit better later on. What did I get here? Solidified mana. That's because I was standing in there whenever I tried to make the Alf Steel. We can just toss that into there, and it's going to eat it. Basically, it's from when it tried to make something and it didn't work. It makes that solidified mana. It's kind of a return byproduct for your mana if you would have just wasted it like we just did. Now, they do want us to get 2 Alf Steel. And I know I'm keeping all these runes on me because we're going to need them again here in just a moment, actually. Let's go ahead. Let's put all this onto there. Maybe we have enough mana. I mean, yeah, we've got enough mana around here. But it is starting to drain some of those pools that didn't have quite as much in them. Yeah, it's basically just pulling it from these few pools here. I think I'm going to have enough, but I don't think I'm going to have any left over after the fact. I may not have enough, actually. Nope, I do not have enough mana. It's close. You can see the orbs are just about to come into that. It's getting so close. And I think that's actually the last rotation of it. It's just so much mana. I thought I was prepared. I was not quite prepared. Okay, my items did end up despawning. That's okay. I got all those solidified manas back. I think they've been consumed. But we did get our solidified mana back. So it's not a really big problem. Man, this actually runs extremely slow. If there's only one pool that's linked to it, it runs extremely slow. It was funny because they despawned literally right before they hit this. Like, I mean, it was right. I was like, oh, that's about done. And then it despawned. So do be a little bit careful of that. I thought I had enough mana and I didn't. So, and then we're going to need our pylons. Now, since we have Mythic Botany, if we take a look, for example, at the Gaia pylons. Gaia pylons. They're going to require that we get Alf Steel pylons first. which is going to be alf steel nuggets. So we're going to have to make some Natura pylons. That's fine. Let's go ahead and break another one of these down. And let's go ahead and get 4 of those. I'm actually going to need one more piece of Terra steel, though. But as you can see, it's a little bit more work to get to where you can summon the Gaia. We're actually pretty close. I don't know if we'll do it this episode because we are getting on a little bit in time. This will probably be like a two episode thing. I did go ahead, though, in between some cuts, I did go ahead and start planning out this little area. So you can see we have basically kind of like a circular shape that's built there into the mountain. This is actually going to be... the elevation's not going to be exactly this, but this is going to be where a lot of our Botania stuff will be set up. Not all of it, but some of it. Okay, I went ahead and got all the mana from down in our silverfish area. And we'll just toss that into there. Woo, lots of mana. But then we can go ahead, we can get our last piece of Terra steel without any issue. There we go. And we'll let this run, you know, between episodes. Hopefully let a lot of this build up, because I have a bit of building I need to do. That's why I'm kind of just pushing it over the finish line at the moment. I thought we were going to have more mana, or enough mana for this today after we got our one set up, but nope, not the case. Okay, so there's our 4 Natura pylons, and then in order to upgrade these, we do need the alf steel. So we'll go ahead and get our 4 alf steel pylons. Okay, and then just want the 4 Gaia. Between episodes, I am going to be setting up an area for our Gaia fight, and I'd like to put it in what's going to be its permanent spot. I don't think... Yeah, it says it's an important step before fighting Gaia Guardian 2. I don't think we actually have to have it for Gaia Tier 1. But we'll go ahead and do it. Like I said, we're about to be wrapping up for this episode, but just because of where the time is, and the next episode we can come back, we can fight Gaia Mark 1, Gaia Mark 2, and then quickly move through all of that. So let's grab our Horn of the Wild, and then let's go ahead and get our branch of Yggdrasil. So at this point, what we're going to do, let's pull this up. We're actually probably not going to be using that much as we move forward, but we're going to go ahead and get some mana basically being fed into that branch. And then we can right-click that, and what's going to happen is start dripping that mana down into our horn. And then once it gets filled up, we'll be able to drink from it. It is going to take a little while. It takes a bit of mana, but we'll just kind of let that run. Now, I don't think that we've got velocity lenses. We could use velocity potency here, but honestly, I think with where it's at, it's probably going to drain this out and be waiting on mana before everything's said and done. So I'm not going to worry about it with this. Actually, it's already filled. We'll right-click that, and we have water from the Well of Mimir. Petrunia? Obtained from a garden in Privet Drive. Oh, Harry Potter reference, of course. But we're going to go ahead. We're just going to take and right-click that. As you drink the water from the Well of Mimir, you gain knowledge about things you could never imagine in your wildest dreams. And basically what this is going to allow us to do is, if we take a look at Mythic Botany, and also at this point we can pretty much just pull this up for now. I am going to be setting it up top, but we don't actually need it anymore at the moment. It's going to allow us to do these right here, these rune rituals. There's actually quite a few of them, but we can't do them until we drink that water. I didn't think about it. I might have to work a little bit to get a wandering trader, because of course they don't spawn in the blue skies dimension. So I may have to spend a little bit of time in the overworld and try to capture a wandering trader for us for next episode. We could go ahead though and get our soul scribe. Let me get that, because we're going to need that next episode, so there's that. But next episode, when we come back, I'll get a place laid out. I mean, we've pretty much got everything now to summon the Gaia. We're ready to go in that regard, which will allow us to start moving our mana up to where our proper Botania area is going to be. So between episodes, I will be just setting up kind of where our actual Gaia arena is going to be. And I'm also going to go ahead and start setting up and organizing this area out a little bit as well. so that we can set up for kind of more permanent Botania, because right now everything's kind of a mess, but I kind of need Gaia spirits, which that's pretty much everything that we need, because to push to the Gaia spreader, it's just Dragonstone and Gaia spirit. We're also going to want mana collectors from Mythic Botany, which come next episode. We will be able to craft these as well. But yeah, so next episode when we come back, first order of business will be a Gaia fight, followed pretty swiftly by a Gaia Mark II fight. We're going to go ahead and push on. I don't think we're going to have any issue with the Gaia. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.